Diamonds, gold and war, the 19th century in South Africa. The 1800s were defined by one thing: movement. In part 2, we track the massive migration that shaped the nation. We follow the Voortrekkers as they leave the Cape Colony into the unknown, and we witness the rise of the Zulu kingdom under King Shaka during the Mafeking. But everything changes when a shiny stone is picked up near the Orange River. The discovery of diamonds and a massive gold strike on the Witwatersrand, transforming a farming backwater into the economic prize of the British Empire, and put the Boer republics on a collision course with the world's superpower. Welcome back to part 2. In our last episode, we traveled from the ancient San hunter-gatherers and the kingdom of Mapungubwe to the arrival of the Dutch. We saw how the British finally seized control of the Cape in 1806, leaving the Dutch farmers, the Boers, furious and restless. But the Cape was just the beginning. Today we cover the 19th century, a time defined by mass migration, the rise of the Zulu kingdom, and the two glittery discoveries that would change the world's economy forever. To secure their eastern border against the Xhosa, the British government brought in 5,000 settlers in 1820. They were placed on the Eastern Cape as a human buffer. It was a harsh life, and it brought English culture permanently into the mix. But the breaking point for the Dutch farmers came in 1834, when slavery was abolished. While many Boers weren't against the idea in principle, the compensation promised by Britain was a fraction of the value, and they had to collect this in London. That was the final insult. The start of the Great Trek. Enough was enough. Starting in 1835, with early pioneers like Louis Trichardt leading the way, thousands of Boers packed their wagons and left the colony. This wasn't a holiday. It was a political exodus. They were trekking into the unknown to build their own republics. But the interior wasn't empty. It was in turmoil, a period known as the Mafeking, or crushing. The rise of King Shaka and the Zulu kingdom had sent shockwaves through the region. Tribes were fleeing, fighting, and starving. Out of this chaos, great leaders emerged. King Moshoeshoe I gathered refugees on the impregnable mountain of Thabo Bosiu, founding the Basotho nation. He was a master diplomat who would survive both Zulu and Boer attacks. The Voortrekkers, under the leadership of Piet Retief, tried to negotiate for land with the Zulu king Dingaan. This ended in tragedy. Dingaan ordered the murder of Retief and his men, leading to the Battle of Blood River, which took place on the 16th of December 1838, where some 470 Voortrekkers went into battle against an estimated 10,000 Zulu warriors. The Boer victory there became a spiritual cornerstone of Afrikaner nationalism. For decades, South Africa was just an agricultural backwater. Two Boer republics in the north, Transvaal and the Free State, and two British colonies in the south, Cape and Natal. Then, a boy found a shiny stone near the Orange River. In 1867, diamonds. Suddenly the world rushed to Kimberley, but that was just the appetizer. In 1886, an Australian prospector stumbled upon the main reef on a farm called Langlaagte. Gold. The Witwatersrand, the biggest gold strike in human history. Almost overnight, a tent town appeared. They called it Johannesburg. But the gold wasn't just in the city center. The reef ran deep and stretched a staggering 65 kilometers from west to east. This was a nightmare for the president of the Transvaal, Paul Kruger. His quiet Boer Republic was flooded with uitlanders, foreigners, mostly British, who wanted the vote but didn't want to speak Dutch. The British High Commissioner, Lord Milner, saw an opportunity. If the uitlanders got the vote, Britain would control the gold. Tension rose, but negotiations failed. Paul Kruger knew Britain was massing troops on the border. He wasn't waiting to be invaded. On the 9th of October 1899, he sent an ultimatum to the British Empire. Back off, or we'll fight. The deadline expired at 5 p.m. on the 11th of October 1899. The time for peace had ended. Join me in part 3 as we cover the war that defined a generation, the Second Anglo-Boer War. I'm Raymond Rich. Please like and subscribe to this channel to keep the history alive. Ngiyabonga, Salagahle. If you liked this video, please share it with your friends, subscribe to our channel, and please feel free to write in the comment section things that you'd like us to investigate and make videos on. We'd gladly do that and share it with you.